Welcome to another photo critique from the Digital Photo Rec Flickr group, 500 pics. Not Facebook this time because I didn't like the viewing situation when people presented their images via Facebook. It's just too small and Facebook-ish. So
We're switching things
dropped
up.
that out. Yeah, we're switching things up, and the Flickr group is where a lot of these images came from. You posted them, and some of you posted them from 500 pics. I'm Toby.
And I'm Christina.
And we're going to dive right in because we have a time limit. We're going to keep this to about 30 minutes. So we're going to jump right in, dive right in, jump right in with this first Through the Looking Glass from Barack.
This is a great image. I love this image. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. This is fantastic. It's a wonderful way to start off this image critique. I think that she is framed so very nicely in here.
Just perfectly.
And there's some reflections going on that add, I think, positively to this image, and it gives it a little bit of a sense of motion, even though those reflections I don't think have anything to do with her. I also like that you didn't completely center it, so we're not seeing this kind of bullseye targeted at her, but we just have the spacing on the left, and on the right it's just all equal. I think that works really well here, and black and white also really emphasizes the repeating patterns. That's when black and whites work, when there's good texture or repeating patterns, and I think it works really well here. My only suggestion is to go ahead and crop off this little 1/4 of an inch, half a centimeter if you're using the metric, over here on the right hand side, because this dark and white is just a little bit of a distraction. Otherwise, really nice.
Yeah, I agree. I love the composition, and it's got a very street photography sort of feel to it. I feel like you probably stood there for a while waiting for this photo to happen. So it was definitely worth it because it's an amazing image. So well done.
Nice job. Great, thanks. From that, we've got Lance, who has posted this of his friend. And he's got some information for us there. She took shots of each other with his new lens. Lance, remind me what your new lens is. So we removed a monument that was above the tree, spot treated the rim of the vehicle. Woo. Red tail light to lessen the distraction, dim the signs to the right of the picture. That's good. I think I see them now, but they're not catching my eye. I also removed a few hairs that were out of whack, blowing in the slight breeze. Then I dimmed the background by keeping her face +6 above original exposed, so the background remained at its original and cropped downwards to the left treetop line.
Nice.
Nice. Now, I will say that Lance over on Facebook said, go ahead and be harsh. He's really looking for some feedback.
Okay.
So we don't have to feel like, I don't think we usually hold back, but we also, recognize that it's not hard for everybody to put their images out here and then get feedback on them.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'd like to start, I think. So I think first of all, it's great that you did all of those modifications because, yeah, I mean, there are so many things that you pointed out that are in the image that I don't notice as much. So simple things like color correcting distractions help tremendously when it comes to portraits and leading the eye back to the subject of the image.
Color correcting distractions?
Yeah, I mean, I think he desaturated the distracting elements.
Okay.
I will say that that car on the bottom left corner is still a really, really distracting element.
Yes.
So I might try a vertical portrait crop on this image, just because the light is really nice on her, on her. And this is a nice portrait. It's really good, and I think with just the green in the background, even those bushes that aren't super distracting, I think try a vertical crop. I think that would help this image a lot because it would just get rid of, like the lines under the tree or, the tree trunks, and then those two cars that are very, very distracting. Other than that, I mean, I think it's a great portrait of this person, and I like the posing. It looks very natural. The only thing that I would have, if you were directing this person, I might have her bring her chin down just a teeny bit so that we can focus on her eyes more, and her eyes are the thing that is closest to the image, besides, people's noses. People's noses are pretty prominent on their faces. So,
Right.
but yeah, eyes. Make that connection with the eyes.
Yeah, I agree with everything Christina said. I love that you chose to backlight her,
Yes.
which is really strong. We have talked about in previous critiques switching to a portrait orientation more often for my own work, and I've started to do that, and I'm seeing the benefits. It just so quickly and naturally crops out things that aren't the person when you're taking a picture of a person. So it's a great first step because it solves so many other little things that you would have to deal with if you took a landscape of a person.
Yeah.
That's not to say that a landscape of a person never works, but oftentimes a portrait is going to make a stronger image from the start.
Well, you have to have a really clean background in order to make the landscape crop work. And you rarely have a really clean background, either a clean background or very, very shallow depth of field. So yeah, for portraits above, from the chest and above, portrait orientation, I think, works best.
Great. Thank you, Lance. Robert has got his little boy at the window with, I wanted to say Lance Armstrong. It's not Lance Armstrong.
What?
Who is that?
Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear.
Lance Armstrong is a real person.
That's right. I guess I was thinking of Armstrong, the astronaut. Buzz Lightyear. Okay, so.
You of all people should know who Lance Armstrong is.
I know who Lance Armstrong is, but that's just the name that came into my mind.
Anyway.
Now that we've gone down that little road, this is, I think, one of those sweet moments that's captured nicely. And, portrait orientation would not work here because you are trying to capture the little boy and Buzz Lightyear. But you could certainly crop in more, and really we don't need to see this extra bit over here. There's nothing there, and that brightness catches the eye plus the red. So we can crop that out. And then we could crop in just a little bit, just leave...
No. I think if you were to crop that triangle out, you would lose part of the...
Well, I wasn't saying crop it out completely, but just bring it in just a little bit closer to the tip of his wings.
No, I wouldn't do that either because that would feel not
tight.
Very intentional. Just give your subjects room to breathe around the edges.
Yeah. Okay. So we can't see the EXIF data, but I certainly would like to see this at an even shallower depth of field if possible, because this car, that car, and this, back here is quite distracting. This could be shot at a shallower depth of field, let in a little bit more light to brighten his face, and really blow this stuff out here because it's not anything interesting. It doesn't add to the image.
Yep, I agree.
Good. Nice. Thank you, Robert. JCB. He wanted to share a nice spider picture because he knows how much everybody loves spiders on the internet.
Well, this is definitely a really cool image. I don't think I have much to add. I mean, it's really nice. It's, composition's great, light's great, everything's pretty great, so.
It is. I guess I should have logged in. I think when I log into 500 Pix, it gives me info.
There it is. The image.
There it is. Yep. So I logged in. So using that 100 millimeter lens, just wonderful. I actually called JCB in on a comment to help somebody else out who was having some issues with macro photography. One of the things that is really tricky is your depth of field is amazingly thin. So you can see that here, f11 is what is needed, and you can still see how shallow this depth of field is. This guy is tiny, and it starts at his front feet, and by you get to the back feet, it's out of focus.
Yeah.
So we're talking.
So you're so close.
You're so close, and you're working at those longer focal lengths, especially on a crop sensor camera like the 700 or the 70D. But really nice framing, and you can see also how just amazingly out of focus the background is. Nice shot. Anybody who wants to buy it, 500 Pix, personal wallpaper, $2.99. If you love spiders, get it. Thank you. Paul, Burnham Beach during the magic hour. You want to talk a little bit about what the magic hour is?
The magic hour is that last hour before the sun sets completely, when you have really nice, soft, warm light. Yeah.
Makes a huge difference in the look of just about everything. Really, things become more dimensional. During the midday light, things are very flat.
It softens light sometimes. I feel like I recently, without going too much into it, I feel like I have been enjoying shooting in midday and in really harsh sun situations just by backlighting people, I feel like, and then editing after to compensate a little bit for the lack of contrast. You can still get some pretty nice images. But anyway, so let's just jump right into critiquing this image. You know, the light's really beautiful. The clouds are definitely really awesome. I think I would have liked to see this space showcased from a different perspective. And here's why. There are some strange kind of angles and things going on around here. You know, that there's just the geometry in this image is kind of throwing me off a little bit. Like the clouds, which are, I think, probably the most interesting thing of this image, although this is pretty interesting too, but this adds a lot of interest. They kind of become dead space because of the way that they're cropped, and so does this. So I can see why you might want to include a lot of things from this space in the image, but I think that you're doing a disservice to the space by trying to include all of them. That being said, I think the exposure is perfect. It really showcases the light at this time of day really, really nicely. I really like that. I like the reflection on these puddles. So, you know, going back to the assignment that we gave a couple weeks ago, maybe try approaching this spot from different perspectives before you, or take a wide shot like this, but then kind of go around and explore different angles.
The double take assignment where really focus in on what is the subject.
Yeah, so maybe focusing in on one of the puddles to highlight the interesting sky, or doing something super symmetrical where you maybe show some of this stuff kind of right up against the sky and the clouds, and you know, try something a little bit different. I think too much can sometimes be just too much.
Yep, I agree.
Keep it simple.
I'll say what I agree. Colors, and there's something I think I disagree a little bit with Christina in that I think there's some really cool leading lines into infinity. This reflection, this bit here, and then of course the stairs, and then the seawall way up here. All really kind of add into this fan that's moving in towards this point down here. But then that said, I agree a lot with what Christina said, and we just got some kind of dead spaces that aren't working. And we also got that light right there sticking up above. That one's okay because it blends in with the clouds a little bit more, but that one keeps catching my eye. I think another suggestion, maybe a subject here, is really focus in on the reflection in this water of the clouds. I think so, coming up from a slightly higher perspective and shooting down into this beach puddle.
And I think you said it really well just a minute ago. There's just, I think this focus lacks, or this photo lacks clear focus. We can't really tell what the subject is.
Right. Great. Thank you so much, Paul. Yamin has the BMW Welt Munich. Wow.
Wow, indeed.
I think there's a lot of strong elements to this picture that I really like. I think being framed over here on the left-hand side that kind of follows this curve around and then into this and this. That works really nicely. I like that. Shooting wide, yes, 14 millimeters, because I see this leaning in. And again, we've talked about that before. That's not the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So that really should be straight. And it also needs just a little bit of room up there. So we need just a little bit more room. 1.6 seconds. These guys here just being these tail lights and headlights of cars that were passing by, right? I think I may have gone, what were you shooting at? F5. I would have gone for a F8, F11, and then gone for a longer shutter speed, and any light trails would have been continuous through that area there. I think that would make it stronger. And the clouds would be a little bit more softer and less defined as well. I think that would all add to the image. But overall, I like it. It's a good image. This must be the Tokina 11-16. I'm reviewing that right now too. Fine, fine lens. Yamin, let me know what you think about that lens.
So I think there's too much foreground in this image. I think you could have tilted the camera up and started right here, and you would still get that sort of like, what do you call it? There's a golden ratio sort of effect that you're getting right here. So yeah, so tilt the camera up, and then that would also fix this. You wouldn't be cutting that off, and then you would have a little bit more sky. So yeah, so it just feels like there's a lot of really interesting things and really cool lines in this image, but there's also too much foreground. Like this to me is a lot of dead space, and to me this is too.
Yep. Good. Great. Thank you.
This is cool.
This is cool. This is very different. So we're just taking a second to take this in. I'm sorry, I don't remember who. Apache Graphics. So we'll say it's Apache Graphics. I don't remember who posted this on Facebook.
This almost looks CG.
It almost does, but I don't believe it is. This is real stuff, and I think this is an Apache helicopter. You got your pilot and navigator. I'm not showing my knowledge here. But how was this image taken? Were you standing on the nose of the helicopter? I'm going to guess the blades were not on yet. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it looks a little dark for me right off the bat. I would like to see it just a tiny bit brighter, just to get a little bit more of the detail. But otherwise, yeah, it's really cool. It's very symmetrical, so I like that about it. And it's, yeah, definitely something we haven't seen before, so very cool.
I like that. Yep, I'd like it to be a little bit darker. Your watermark.
I mean brighter.
Sorry, yes, thank you. Brighter. Your watermark's a little, it's a little much.
Yeah,
there.
it's a little
I think
distracting.
That could be toned down. But both these guys looking at the camera is cool. I noticed that you did shoot at a very wide aperture. Where was it? 8 millimeters. I think I might like to see a little bit more of the blades of the helicopter reaching towards me as well.
I agree.
I think you could come up a little bit to this first crossbar and probably get the blades in as well as these guys' faces. But it's neat. Thank you.
It's really cute.
James Duckworth has a really cute little person. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Doesn't matter. It's cute.
Yep.
So,
I don't think I have a whole lot to say about this image. I think the only thing that would have made it a little bit better is if the baby wasn't wearing or didn't have a binky. But I mean, you can't. There are some times where you just can't do that. So you can't take the binky out without losing the image. So I think it's just really nice. The light's really beautiful, and it's just really sharp and really nice.
yep, 70 to 200 f4 IS lens. Lovely, lovely lens, shooting at f4.5, so you'd stop down a little bit. It's a great picture. Very nice. Maybe, equally leave a little bit of room on both sides.
What's your shutter speed? You could have, with a little bit of or just a little. I guess you do have IS, but
if the baby moved,
right,
then you could have suffered a little bit of motion. But 1/60th, yeah, you're right on the edge. You probably would be okay most of the time.
your ISO could have gone up.
Babies aren't too jittery, but then
They're not.
Well, not
They're super
fast.
squirmy.
They're squirmy, but it's kind of slow squirming, isn't it?
No, it's not.
All right, title is critique is Squirmy Babies. My niece is quite on the move these days, and she is just about 5-6 months. This
She's
baby
the
looks a
squirmiest baby.
little bit older. All right, thank you, James.
Ooh.
Simi.
This looks really familiar.
Well, we've definitely had.
I think this person has submitted
Yes.
a picture of this place.
Yes, I think you're right.
I love this image.
But I don't remember. Was it
super
really this
cool.
place? This is a big waterfall.
Yeah, it was this place.
Was it? Okay. An afternoon at Wadsworth Falls in Middleton, Connecticut.
Middletown.
Middletown. You say town, I say ton.
No, it's definitely town. Anyway, I love this image. I like that it's very monochromatic except for that guy's shorts. How did you, wait, 1 second. That's awesome that you were just able to capture just a little bit of their movement, but still enough that there was a lot of them in focus and sharp and still. And, and the waterfall looks just beautiful and massive.
Waterfall is perfect.
Yeah.
I love I love the length of the exposure, the length of the shutter speed for that waterfall. You don't find the slight movement of two of them distracting?
No, not at all. I think it's really cool.
I love these yellow shorts on this gentleman here. I don't know. I can't decide about that.
I like it a lot.
Okay, but framing wise, really nice job.
I would have cut off a little bit from here. Just a teeny bit. But that's getting super picky. I think it's awesome.
Okay, very nice. Thank you, Simi. Luke. Aww.
This is cute.
This is very cute. Using the Sigma 18 to 35. Nice lens. 35 is certainly not a wildlife lens, but you were close enough.
Yeah. This is a cool shot. I think the only thing that bothers me about this shot is the stick on the right.
Yep.
And maybe the little blades of grass on the bottom left.
Yep.
You know, I would say that I do wish that it was tilted up a little bit so that there was less foreground. But I think it looks nice.
Mm-hmm. How about crop? How about just a general crop in right to here? I know that wouldn't solve the getting a little, well, it would get a little less foreground. It would get rid of the stick.
But I wouldn't crop right to there. I would just crop right here and maybe like right there.
Okay, so a little wider.
Yeah, just a teeny bit. But I like the wideness of it. Oh, wait. Oh, so this is a tree trunk.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
I just noticed that.
I did too. It's dark enough that I thought.
It was just black.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so you could crop quite a bit more then. You could crop, you know, like all this stuff, I think. But really nice capture. I mean, I think that the moment's really cute and it's looking right at you, which is really, really cool.
Yep.
And I like the exposure. I think it works really well.
Yep. I wonder how much more time, if you had more time, the next, I'm gonna imagine the scene, Luke, of somehow you were sitting quietly and the deer didn't see you and walked right up to you, or let's just go with that. And you moved and got this shot before she startled and ran off. But if you had the opportunity to get another, if you lean just to the right to avoid that intersection with that trunk back there, that would help. But that's getting pretty picky. And overall, I think it's a nice image, and I love the very green tone to it.
Yeah.
Sunlight green in the trees, and the grass is being lit up as well. Nice. Thank you, Luke. Renee. Oh, we moved from some soft green and doe to jungle of thorns.
Well, I think that the sharpness is really cool. I think this is another one of those photos that kind of lacks a clear focus. I can't really, I mean, is this clump what we're supposed to be looking at? And I only say that because I think that our minds, our eyes are always trying to look for something to connect with and something to be the focus of you know, an image or a painting or a drawing or whatever. So I think that's one basic thing that, you know, most images should have is some sort of clear focus. There's a lot of dead space right here. It wouldn't be a big deal except for, you know, everything else is kind of full of stuff. So, I'm not really sure what I would do differently, honestly, because I think it's a really cool image.
This cactus is really interesting, and these little blobs of green with the thorns coming out, or spines. I think trying to find a subject within some of those,
It's tough.
Christina's right. This kind of messy white area grabs the attention, but isn't strong enough to say, oh yeah, that's the subject or that's the focus, because we got a lot of out of focus in that area. And I think maybe shooting off in this direction, I don't know what's back here. I don't know what you were limited by, but I think there may be some other point or perspective where you could capture these thorns fading off into distance in this green blobs.
It's a great abstract image.
It is. It's very cool. I wonder how it would look black and white.
I like color.
You do like color? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Renee. Digital Canvas 72. Look at that.
Very cute.
Chickadee in the hand. A chickadee in the hand is worth 2 in the bird feeder.
All right. So, cool image. It looks a little blue to me, temperature-wise.
And warming up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. I can see, yeah,
The
right on
arm.
the arm and
Yeah.
a little bit in the white fur or fur feather right there.
Yeah.
Again, this is another one where leaning to the right a little bit and framing the bird between these two dark trunks in the background. Again, it's not one of those things. I know we're suggesting things that may not have even been possible, but for future reference, you want to look for those natural frames in nature. Those natural frames that are out there everywhere in nature, in architecture, to use to give your, like the very first image we looked at, obviously. So, really cool, neat moment where there's some seeds in your hand. I did successfully have a chickadee land on a branch I was holding once, but never actually in the hand. Great.
Cool.
Yep. Don't have anything else to add. We got time for just one or two more. Can we make it bigger? Chicago. Is it Chicago? That building.
I don't know. So I'm going to go against my own grain and say that this image would have benefited from a little bit more foreground. I kind of just want to see those buildings at the bottom a little bit more. I think it would add to the skyline.
And so there's room up here to
Crop,
to
yeah,
crop,
yeah,
or
I
to
think
bring,
so.
to bring it down.
To bring down,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, it's a cool image. It showcases the city at night really beautifully. I don't know how I feel about the really contrasty color changes in the tungsten versus the like dusky sort of
Yeah.
reflections.
We've got the tungsten lights of these street lights along here.
Yeah.
Very yellow. Then we have the car headlights, pure white. And then we have this very blue look over here.
Yeah.
So we've got these distinct colors. There's not really anything you could do about that.
Well, I mean, you could go in and kind of retouch to tone down the blues a little bit or tone down the yellows a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I think they are sort of complementary colors, somewhat, so they don't look terrible together. But I think it's a little too blue, in my opinion. It's just a teeny tiny bit too blue. If anything, I would just warm it up a little bit.
And I'm just, this is not something you can really fix from this perspective, but we've got this big gap here that leads way off, and then we have these buildings over here in the distance, but this one right here is tall and close but cut off. So there's a little bit of a jumbled feeling here that is pulling away from making it a solid image, I think. So
Revisit if you can.
yeah, revisit. I wonder, what other options you have for slightly different locations. I don't have any information on the. Sorry, I'm looking for. Oh, this is from Craig.
It is in Chicago.
It is Chicago. I'm a genius. I was looking for F10 70 millimeters.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, so it's not that wide. So it was from quite a distance. Yeah, and I think there's also potential for subjects within this, like this area here, with the speeding cars contrasting against the completely still water and the boats all at rest.
Yeah.
Or the city here with the fog creeping in. So I think there's strong images within this, but overall, because of the color changes, because of the gaps, because of the tops of the buildings here cut, we've got some things that detract from making it a strong image. One more. Tuckus? Is that a T? Mm-hmm. Let's say, okay, I'm not going to try to pronounce any of those names. Here we go. An opportunity shoot from the pit of a concert of Dawid Podsadio, winner of the X Factor in Poland.
Cool.
Very cool. Shot with a 60D 17-40 L lens, one of Canon's best value L lenses.
This is a cool concert image. I feel like the white smoke pulls my eye out from the image a little bit. So it feels a little bit unbalanced, but you have very little control over the lighting and the smoke and I don't know, what would you call it, pyrotechnics.
Right, or
at a
even your
concert.
perspective often you were
Right.
stuck at that one point in the pit.
Yeah, well, you can change your perspective. You can move your camera one way or the other. But yeah, I mean, this guy looked like he was moving around, so, and it's dark, so it's hard to focus. So concert photography is tough. You know, so I think this is a great image for, you know, the situation, and I think it works really well in black and white. I think most concert images do, unless the light is really clean. So yeah, I mean, I think this is well done. Well, one distracting element right here is this, and there's some distracting stuff right here as well. But otherwise, it's, you know, it's nice. I like it.
Yep, I think the black and white works really well. As Christina said, a lot of times you get really wacky colors as they try to be fancy at the concerts. But yes, this one really bright light right into this fog or smoke machine stuff is pulling the image away a little bit. If you have some others where this says the smoke wasn't as strong, they might be slightly stronger images. But the moment you captured here is very cool. Thank you, Delwood. All right, and there we are. That is what we've got for today's image critique. Thank you all so much for watching. We love to hear feedback from you all after you hear our critique of your images. Oftentimes we learn more about what you're trying to accomplish, and there's good feedback that happens on both of our parts, so we really enjoy that. So if you have anything else to say, please leave a comment down below or come over on Facebook and comment there under the image as well. And share these pictures and this critique out with your friends and family. Say, hey, look, my image got critiqued, and that's exciting, I think. So, thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It is a useful and free and so easy way for you to thank us for our time. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.